Okay, good morning. Let's get back. Yeah, kindly mute, please.
ಕಟ್ಟಾಯ್ತು ಯಾಕೆ ಹಂಗಾಯ್ತು ಹೆಂಗಾರೆ ಸರಿ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಡ
Okay, so we'll get back where we stopped. We were looking at why one biometric may not be enough because there are applications where you need 99.99% accuracy. For example, you want to go into high security area, you want to access or you want to go into a nuclear reactor environment, or you want to go into a defense establishment, whatever it is, okay? So you do what is called a multi-biometric system, which means you use more than one biometric, but there are very interesting ways to look at. For example, moment you have a different biometric, you need different sensors, which means you add more cost to the system and also spend more time acquiring that. Then you have to do sensor fusion, all that. We'll come to that later. So using more than one biometric, the simplest is this. You're using only one camera. You are using the front face, that is face from the front, from the left side and the right side. So these are basically multi-biometrics, but more like multi-sample, okay? The next most sophisticated way is same biometric, but you use different type of sensors. For example, you use an optical sensor and a solid state sensor. People who know sensor technology will know that these have different bandwidth, different resolution. They even operate in different frequencies of the either the radiation or the source. Okay, so it is using a single biometric but captured through multi-sensor. For example, we have done quite a lot of work using normal camera, face with normal camera and face with thermal camera. So camera means we take generally the face, but it is two instances of the same face, one taken through normal camera, which uses visible light radiation. The other is through non-visible light like thermal radiation, okay? Yeah. Then there is a third way to do it, which is same data processed through two different types of algorithms. Multi-algorithm is another approach. So multi-sample, multi-sensor, multi-algorithm means the way you process, and the end results are also dependent on algorithm. So the end results will slightly vary. So you will get something little more than what one did. The fourth one is multi-unit. It's the same biometric, but two different units of the same kind. For example, the binocular vision, right and left eye. Both you collect, both you compare. So all these are multi-biometrics using more than one biometric, but these four will use same biometric, which is cheaper, but gives you advantage of doing it in a slightly different way. And there is a strict multimodal. The strict multimodal is using fingerprint, face, iris. So for each biometric, the sensor is different, their dynamic range is different, their bandwidth is different, the way it collects is different. For example, you can collect face and voice. Face comes from the camera, whereas voice you record and it is one dimensional, which you have to basically handle it carefully. Okay. Yeah. So this is the cheapest. Next more expensive. This is more resource intensive. This also. Okay. So whereas this is strictly multimodal, and you should expect if one biometric gave you 90% accuracy, second one gave you 80, the two together will give you about 95. So this is typically how multi-biometric systems are favored. Like I said, multi-sensor, rain sensor, 2D sensor, multi-algorithm, texture-based, minutiae-based, multi-instance, right and left iris images, multi-sample, and multi-mode. Okay. So the sources of information are from this. And how do you fuse? After all, data has to be fused. When you fuse data, for example, fusing image with voice. Voice is one dimensional, whereas image is two dimensional. How do you fuse image data with voice data? Okay. Or fusing signature with face. Even though both are two dimensional, signature is a lot more, it lacks the number of rows. So how do you fuse that? So when you want to fuse, there are various ways to fuse. Before you match the results with a template, there you can fuse either at the sensor level, raw data, or fuse after the features have been extracted. So this is feature level fusion, sensor level fusion. The other approach is after you match, so you can do dynamic classifier selection. Let's not worry about it. So at the classifier level, you fuse either at the decision level where you actually find the output labels, or at rank level, rank in order, or at the match score level. So you can do before matching and after matching. Before matching at the data level, sensor and feature level, after matching at the classifier fusion. So it depends what type of problem you are solving, how we are getting the data, and for some cases, after matching fusion is easier because before matching, many of the equipment will not allow you to fuse. So this is different level. So let's look at first sensor level fusion. So you collect sensors data, that is sensor collects data of the faces. You fuse 3 version, then do the feature extraction, then do the matching, then take the decision whether the identity is correct or not. Okay. At feature level fusion, you collect features from right eye, features from left eye, get iris codes, fuse this, do the matching, then take the decision. At score level fusion, you have 3 different biometrics. You take the features from this, features from this, features from this, match, you get match scores, fuse the match scores, then take a decision. This is typically what we do. For example, we take opinion from A, opinion from B, then fuse the opinion. Suppose we take some health issues, we take an opinion from allopath, we take an opinion from homeopath or Ayurveda, then weigh our decision. Okay. So
college Wi-Fi convert ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡೆ.
Please mute. Then at the decision level, you have data, you have extracted the feature, you have matched, you have taken decisions independently, then fuse the decision and take the final. So you can do sensor level fusion, feature level fusion, score level fusion, and decision level. It depends what kind of problem you are attacking, what all options you have. at what level fusion is permitted, etc., etc. So why this multi-biometric thing is, like I said, multiple instances, multiple representation. That's what the algorithm, multi-algorithm does. Multiple samples, strictly multiple trait, multiple sensors, and then you do performance requirements and cost constraint. For example, when you want to design, doing a multi-biometric thing works very well, but it's extremely expensive. Okay. So you balance cost with performance. Many times, getting the performance of multi-biometric, you may get a slightly cheaper version with these two, either multiple sensors or multiple representation. Almost gives you this. Okay. What do you do? Not very easy. You see how difficult it is to collect the data. When we say we work with sensors, you see how difficult it is to collect data. This is from hand weighing, you are making these portions, then finding out the key points, then doing what is called the region of interest. Similarly for iris, similarly for hand geometry and palm print. Okay. Very difficult. Let me tell you, it's not easy to collect good data. So this is it. Sensor level of fusion, two sensors, you fuse, extract the feature, match, take a decision. Feature level, from sensor 1, extract the feature, sensor 2, extract the feature, fuse the feature. Then matching and decision is this. Match score level, feature, sensor, feature, match separately, get the matched output, then fuse. Decision level fusing, same thing. After the decision here and the decision, partial decisions, you take a full decision. So this is typically what 4 types of fusion that's available. And final decision is this. You have multiple biometrics, multi-sensor, multi-instance, whatever. You are comparing against the authenticity of an identity. How accurate you want. It depends on application. Suppose you want a library application where you are borrowing or returning a book, 90% accuracy is good enough. Suppose you are doing ATM transactions, 99.9% accuracy is needed. You want to open a bank locker, 99.99. You want to get into Reserve Bank vault, 99.999. You want to get into an atomic reactor, 99.9999. You want to get into a nuclear submarine, 99.999999. So your application finally decides what level of accuracy is good. To achieve that accuracy, you may want to have more and more biometrics, different algorithms, etc., etc. We will look at that. See here. You take, for example, fingerprint. Can you determine the identity to get almost close to 100% genuine acceptance rate? No. Add one more biometric, fingerprint process. Do you need more? Add hand geometry. So typically, people keep on adding biometrics to achieve close to 100% genuine acceptance rate, meaning the correct person has been identified without any lapses. But the question is, how many? 3, 4, 5? As you add one different biometric, the problem is that cost will slowly start escalating. It becomes more complex and handling. In fact, adding more biometrics may not actually improve your result. Okay, that's another problem. So you see here, typically today, most companies have this because there are too many problems of breach of security. So it is a multi-biometric login where fingerprint, hand geometry, face, all three will allow the person to log in. Today, multi-biometric logins have become very common in many companies, particularly which does work with sensitive data and so on and so forth. So this is it. See, What are the characteristics you use to decide which biometric is good? Speed, the effective rate at which it is taken in and taken out. What are the standards? Does it guarantee uniqueness? Is it a mature technology? That is the sensors very standardized now? How durable it is? How invasive it is? That is, does it intrude on us? Alertness, range, what is the template size? What is the age range of the identity you can handle? Universality, is it stable? Does it require too much skill to handle it? How accurate it is? How hygienic it is? Particularly after COVID, lot of these biometric sensors became useless because we wanted more and more non-touch, non-invasive. Okay. Then how good the performance is? What is the cost? Okay. So fingerprint seems to have a lot of nice things. Okay. Accuracy is medium to high, hygiene level is low, cost is low. Voice recognition, cost is low, right? Age range is medium, invasiveness is low, alertness is low. So voice is not necessarily the best. So these things look, whereas iris and face and palm print, they are about the best. And interesting about face, cost is low, performance also is low. So iris and palm print look reasonably good, but there are other issues. Range is low. So in fact, the final choice is between iris and face. But what is interesting is voice gives something which is not there in this and this. So all these, remember, may be talking about the same identity, but they are not complete. Face may give 90% of the information about a person. Iris may give 95, which means 5% is missing. Palm may give 90, which means 10%. So the question is, what is missing in one? Can it be found in the other? That's exactly why banks take signature, photograph, and some other proof of identity. So they want hopefully complete 100% accuracy through minimum number of biometrics. So this is what is called complementary and supplementary information. For example, face and voice are complementary. So many things about voice is not found in face. What is found in face is not found in voice, which means what is missing in face may be found in voice. So you look for biometrics which give you complementary information. So in one you have 80%, one more gives you 15, a third one may give you 5%, which makes it complete. There may be redundancy, don't worry. So getting supplementary information is also possible. For example, face gives 80, iris may give another 10 out of that. So you finally end up with 90. You add voice, you get 95. So you have to add something else to get 100. So this is typically how it is done. And more different biometrics you add, cost will increase. Durability is a problem. Throughput rate is, see, all of them are low and medium. None of them are high, which means for a large country like ours in India, high throughput issues is what you need to look at. Okay? So this is really what it is. Cost comparison. So for a typical university system, how much it works for cost, whether it's compatible with Android and Apple systems. Do you need additional hardware? Is it low cost, easy to deploy and manage? Is it compatible with smartphones, tablets, laptops, and desktop? Is it third party tested for accuracy above 99%? That's very important. Protects user privacy, does it? authenticates physical user, allows any user to gain access. For example, we had this extremely degenerate and very destructive and vulgar expression by the TMC MP, that lady who shared her password for Parliament House accessing questions and other things, and it was used in India while she was in Dubai, and she collected apparently monetary and other benefits to share the password with an unauthorized user who is an industrialist. Okay, so one of the most vulgar examples of misuse of secure access, we saw it. Of course, whatever the court and others decide, I think she will be expelled. In my opinion, she deserves to be debarred from any public office for the rest of her life. It is that bad. Okay. Then is it user friendly? Does it meet government's security level requirements? Is it susceptible to spy and malware or viruses which are all the time there? Can it be integrated into learning management systems for unlimited authentication? And how does it work out for cost per student? You see, all these very high, $200, where this is $20 per year, unlimited. So this is how typically cost and other things are decided. Okay. So what is basically requirement for something like Aadhaar? It must handle large number of classes, because in India's population of 1.4 billion, there are at least, it's not just male and female, there are at least 100 different classes to which these people can be put, minimum. Okay. Then lot of interclass variability and interclass similarity. I want clear segmentation available. The system requirement, high throughput, low error rate. Both are difficult. So if you increase the throughput, the error rate will also increase. Okay. You have to work with low quality images, because in India, illumination and sensors and other things are not very consistent and not reliable everywhere. Illumination particularly. I want the entire population coverage. How to deploy everywhere. More than deployment, what is the cost and ease of maintenance of this? In India, one of the biggest failures is in maintenance. You can see your own college buildings. It was inaugurated with lot of fanfare, but other than when NAC or somebody visits, there is no budget for maintenance. I know many colleges where teachers collect money by themselves and get some upkeep done. So sad to hear all that. Okay. Then what is it? Gender, culture, and other social sensitivities. India has the world's largest population with physical disabilities. Largest number of blind people in the world are in India. Largest number of deaf and dumb people are in India. So how do you handle biometrics for them, which has these limitations? Then can I scale it? I do it, let's say I do Aadhaar card for LPG. Can I do it for other application? I cannot do all over again. I have to use that for other application, which means all the time 1.4 billion people are being accessed. I mean, access for 1.4 billion people are being checked. So somebody is looking for LPG, somebody else is doing ration card, somebody is doing insurance, somebody is doing child admission, etc., etc. So can I now scale this to handle so many things across geographies? Okay. So a lot of research is also going on, more and more research on sensor, because sensors are becoming very cheap, and different kind of sensors. In fact, today you have sensors for the skin. So many things are happening. Lot of three-dimensional models are being built. For example, ear and even the face, 3D faces data is being picked, because You now have cameras which do that. People don't want to come near a device for verification. So you want to do biometric at a distance. People are all the time moving. You want to do biometrics while they are moving. There are a lot of good probabilistic and statistical modeling coming. There are graphical models coming. There are new trades, 3D here, odor, DNA, all these are being considered. Okay. If you can do DNA very quickly, it will just take either a small hair from the skin or a sweat or whatever and quickly do almost 100% accurate. But can we do DNA comparison quickly? It's very difficult. Okay. So this is how your Aadhaar card and the enrollment took up. This is a multi-unit. They also had face and fingerprint and signature. You can see here, palm fingerprints, palm print, signature, face, and they have taken multi-unit of this. Okay. First application of Aadhaar. This. So what are the future applications? It's already come. Public distribution systems now have this. Many panchayat local offices are being enabled with this. Lot of educational activities are linked with Aadhaar now. It started with LPG. Now it has gone to all other petroleum components. Insurance is taken over in a big way because a lot of false claims were being done in the past. People who were alive were claimed dead and insurance recovered all this. So all insurance and banking have taken over. Okay. Then a lot of Reserve Bank related thing, government agencies, or people working on the field, all these have been enabled now. Not complete, but slowly, one by one. And I'm sure in another 5 years, 90% of our socio-economic activity in this world or in our life will have been linked. Okay, even if you go to a movie theater, it will be recorded and verified. Okay. So the most important Aadhaar card uses in India first serves as a proof of identity and address across India. That is one. Aadhaar empowers residents of India with unique identity and a digital platform to authenticate anytime, anywhere. That's important. Aadhaar is paperless, online, anytime, anywhere identity. Aadhaar is a random generated number that does not depend on caste, creed, religion. So it has made this because people have a bad habit of recognizing caste, creed, etc. by name and surname. And based on that, services or responses are this thing. Get to know about your Aadhaar card details or using your phone. Now the online version has come. Avail benefits of various services if you carry your Aadhaar card. Aadhaar helps in proving identity during travel. Aadhaar helps you to get mobile connection, LPG connection, open a bank account, etc., etc. All that. Okay. So opening new bank account, provident fund, voter card linking, digital locker, Jandan Yojan, Aadhaar-based direct benefit of subsidy. Okay. So even for income tax. Okay. So you can electronic know your customer can be shared with Aadhaar now. Currently mobile Aadhaar. So this is the first version. Today you have these versions, plenty of it, including the mobile version. We'll have some discussions and questions. Okay. Question is, are we in the Big Brother is watching stage? So are we in the Big Brother is watching stage? Meaning, what this is doing is it is making everybody under surveillance. Do you want it or you don't want it? For example, everywhere they say this place is under video surveillance. They have always put a board. You cannot do surveillance without putting a board. Secret surveillance is not allowed. Even the police and others are allowed, military is allowed. So, do you want to be watched all the time? For example, let's look at Singapore, which seems to have one of the lowest uh, crime rate. One reason is in Singapore, except the bathrooms, entire country is video and audio recorded all the time. So you're all the time under surveillance. So there's absolutely no sense of privacy outside. You can be within your house and enjoy the privacy, but outside, everybody is under surveillance, which is slowly happening in Europe. Okay. In America, all major transport locations, others are under surveillance. Today in India, a lot of homes have their own surveillance. So today, almost everywhere, whenever there is a crime, first thing police do is look for audio, video recording, at least there or nearby. In fact, so many crimes have been solved by capturing the videos of from neighboring house or at the corner of the street, etc., etc. So the question is, do you want that or you don't want? We will save that for discussion when we done. Now, is this surveillance, is it necessary? Is it useful or is it inevitable? Do you have to go to it? Okay. Notice how society actually values technology. For example, women and mobile phone. Mobile phone was a communication device. But today, if you see, at least in all urban areas, tier 2 towns also, even for high school children, parents give them a mobile, particularly girls. Say you don't use, but you have it so that we can contact you whenever we want. Because mobile phone, at least for the non-communication task, is a high value security device. In fact, now new mobile phones have an emergency number where in terms of emergency, you don't need to dial, you just press that button, that it will go directly to the police station, and the software enables them to know not only who you are, even the physical location to the nearest tower where you are calling from. So this kind of arrangement has already been done. So the mobile phone is more a security device for people who don't use it for too much communication. Is it better safe than sorry, or do we educate, sensitize, and culture the society? Do you really, only way to avoid surveillance is to educate, sensitize, and culture the society, which is almost impossible. You look at what is happening, the way younger generation ride the two-wheelers. Not only they are a hazard to themselves, they are a hazard to others. I know at least 20 people in my life, half of them who have died, aged people, simply because some youngster came, hit, and went away. Very common. So, as we put more gadgets in society and in hands of people, we are actually creating more problems because most of them don't know how to use it. Okay. Best example is mobile phone, where somebody is traveling in the bus. He has a mobile phone where he is playing his favorite song loudly, and everybody in the bus doesn't like that song. Another thing, they talk on the phone and all personal and other topics, and everybody in the bus knows what is going on. Okay. So we don't have really culture with technology yet, because technology in India is very new. mass technology use has come to India only about 15 years back. I still remember 40 years back, we had a landline at home given by the government for some reason. And we were the only person with telephone connection in the whole locality. So what people did, people converted that phone into public phone. We used to get 100 phone calls and about 20 people used to come knock on our door and say, can we make a phone call? And 100 people calling and saying, you call that the person in that house, 4 houses from your house, call that person who is in the street behind you. This is what was happening. Okay. So technology for the masses is a very new thing in India. So we need to understand how to use it well. Look at Palestine, Jammu and Kashmir, Iraq, Afghanistan, Africa, and images of children growing there. You would have seen some video images of young children practicing how to kidnap people, how to threaten them. These are school games that's going on there. Okay. We need to simplify, get rid of so much of components of violence. Okay. TV, all the mobile expressions, lot of it is violence. Okay. People killing each other for iPod, iPhone, and of course, when last year when the onion prices were so high, there were many people who were onion truck drivers who were killed for the sake of onions. And we will look at the references and come back and do discussion. These are the main references. Julian Ashburn, Biometrics, David Maltoni, Wyman, and one of the most popular book is this Arun Ras, Nand Kumar, and A.K. Jain handbook of this thing. A very important reference is this. The first people who in 1991 had no connection with biometrics ended up doing eigen faces for recognition. Then one of the first people to look at noise images, Rajgopalan was my colleague. Okay. And one of the world's best paper for this is our own paper, mine and my students' paper, which did a completely exhaustive research on face recognition. Okay. So we will take up questions and discussions now. Feel free to ask. We have 10-15 minutes time. On this, on other things, on anything that you feel like asking. If I know the answer, I will tell. Otherwise, we can circulate it so that somebody else may be able to give an answer better than what I can give. Yeah. When you want to ask question, unmute.
Sir. Sir, myself is Kariguli. Sir, if we are connected everything by the devices and everything is ready-made, how to feel the joy of thinking, sir?
That is the problem. Device-centered life, you can already see because of mobile, people don't read and write well anymore. They don't do arithmetic well. So with more and more devices, your question is very valid. We are losing a lot. So you have to be very careful. The device has a limited purpose. Now we want to use that for all purposes, forgetting that there are more important things we could be doing. In fact, it's almost non-evolutionary. We are going against evolution by putting so much of devices into our life.
Tips you give to prevent it, sir?
Or
at least to reduce the usage of the devices. What tips you give, sir?
See, first thing very important is I don't have TV at my house. We don't have TV at home. Because we don't have TV at home, my son who is in class 5 reads a lot. He reads a lot and talks a lot. Talking and reading has improved because we don't have TV at home. So when you become passive, you simply observe, you don't respond. It is happening everywhere. In fact, today arithmetic is very bad because of COVID. Online mathematics has spoiled so much. People don't know how to add and multiply correctly now. So we have to be careful. Device is not a solution. Device is only an assist. Whenever you need it, you use it. Don't make it all invasive and all the time. This is very bad.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
In fact, the bigger problem you see, I get 2-page, 3-page email from students. But when I meet them face to face, they cannot talk more than 2 sentences. They are very busy writing email and sending, but they cannot handle conversation face to face. Now you will see a lot of people don't even talk each other eye to eye. They will turn their face and talk. This kind of lack of confidence in oneself is coming because we are becoming too device addicted. Yeah. So please unmute and talk. Do you have any other question?